The first post-mortem was not conclusive, and the relatives were not happy with the explanation that Floyd gave concerning how his wife had passed on. So they requested for a second post-mortem on the 13th of April 2015, and the results were in by the 15th of April 2015. The pathologist said that there were bruises on the body and the back as well as the front of the skull, which suggested indeed she had been bitten, probably bitten to death. Hello once again, welcome to another story time, and this time the story is from Zambia. A real crime that happened in Zambia. So the year is 2015 and it's February. In Zambia, Ndola, the city of Ndola, and in the district of Chingola, there was a young family. Okay, this young family was just comprised of husband and wife. They didn't have any children yet. So this was Floyd and his wife Buhati. I hope I got the pronunciation correct. But anyway, these guys had only been married for 10 months. Just 10 months. Nothing more. Just 10 months. And after 10 years, 10 months of marriage, the wife died. The wife died. Buhati died. She was only 26 years old. And Floyd was 32 years old. Who was Floyd? Floyd was a young pastor. He was a young pastor in the Ndola's Evangelical Pentecostal Assemblies of God Ministries. That's quite a long name. I hope and I suspect they have an acronym for that ministry, because that's quite a long name, right? That's besides the point. So Floyd was a junior pastor in that ministry, and he had just gotten married to his beautiful wife, who was 26 years old. And in February of 2015, something really bad happened. So Floyd is said to have been playing music very loudly and praying. Playing very loud music and praying. And the neighbors could hear him. The next thing, the neighbors saw him running out of his house and screaming that his wife had collapsed due to hypertension. Was Floyd a doctor? Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, the neighbor, Vanessa, dashed in to assist this neighbor who has collapsed. I suspect she was pregnant, right? I think she was 8 months pregnant. Yeah, so it's possible that it made sense to say she has collapsed due to hypertension. That's a good cover story. So anyway, Vanessa dashes in and she sees Buhati on the floor and unconscious. And she was next to a subwoofer, and the subwoofer had blood on it. So Floyd says to Vanessa, please come in, help me to resuscitate my wife. Vanessa panics. She says, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna have my fingerprints everywhere on the crime scene. So she rushes to call her husband. And the husband comes and he tries to resuscitate Buhati. In the meantime, Vanessa calls for an ambulance and the ambulance comes. But guess what? Buhati was pronounced dead as she arrived at the hospital. Her family was not happy. Her family wanted to know what happened, and they asked for a post-mortem. Yeah, they asked for a post-mortem. This second postmortem was only done in April, right? Meaning she had already been buried and they had to exhume the body. Because like I said, they were not happy with the explanation that they had been given about what happened to their daughter. They were not happy. So after the postmortem, Buhati was charged with, not Buhati, Floyd was charged with the murder of Buhati. Yes, a pastor was charged with the murder of his own wife that he had only been married to for 10 months. Kind of reminds me of a story that once happened sometime back in Zimbabwe, you know, kind of reminds me of that. But anyway, that's a story for another day. For now, let's talk about Buhati and Floyd. So Floyd was now sitting in prison, or in jail rather, and he was being charged with the murder of his wife. And the state had to prove that he did it. And his defense obviously had to be proving that he did not do anything. Right? But here is the thing. All the evidence that they had, this pathologist's report and what Vanessa described, she saw on the scene when she went to see, when she went in to help Buhati, and you know, it was not solid evidence for them to charge him with murder, so it was reduced to manslaughter. Frankly, I don't even understand the difference. I mean, like, killing is killing, right? Killing is killing. There's manslaughter, there's homicide, there's culpable homicide, there's murder. Like, sometimes I feel like these words are just being thrown around, like somebody just throwing around words. But if you understand the difference, please do by all means comment down below and tell me the difference between these terms: manslaughter, culpable homicide, murder. Please do explain those to me. Anyway, his charge was reduced from murder to culpable to homicide, to manslaughter, which then meant he was sentenced to 6 years in prison with hard labor. But here is what I don't also understand. This sentence was actually pronounced in April of 2016. He had been arrested in April of 2015, and according to the records that I found, he was supposed to be counting the 5 years from the time that he had been arrested, meaning he's left with 4 years, right, for killing someone. Like, make it make sense. How do these things work? How do these things really work? I'm super confused right now. I am really super confused because I've seen so many people being sentenced to death, being sentenced to life, being sentenced to 20 years for killing. I thought killing was killing, really. Please do explain to me if you understand how these things work. Do explain on comment down below and just see how it works and enlighten me, educate me, because I honestly think killing is killing. Please do it. So our second story is again from Zambia, and yeah, so I would really love to be able to draw the differences between these two cases and see how one has to sit on the death row while the other walks away with 5 years. So the year is 2014, and there was a couple, and their names were Eunice and Mwape. The wife was Eunice, the husband was Mwape, and they are from Kapotwe village in Mwanze. So the two had a fight. After they had a fight, the wife Eunice decided she was going to leave her matrimonial home and go to her family. So she went and stayed with her family for some months. And then probably Mwape decided he wanted his wife back. Or he decided, if I can't have you, no one should have you, right? So one day, Eunice is going to the fields, like 7 in the morning. She's going in to the fields to do some harvesting of some corn or whatever it is that she was harvesting at that time of the year. And that was in March. So she had a basket to put the harvest. All right. And she never came back home. Night fell. Eunice did not come home. But this is what happened before Eunice disappeared. While Eunice was walking out of the house on the 4th of March to go to the field, her relatives in the house heard her husband's voice. He was talking to her. They heard that, but they just thought, oh, okay, he's probably just come to check on her, and that's it. So Eunice disappears. And then she didn't come back home. The following day, her relatives realized, nah, something has got to be wrong. So they decided to tell the neighbors that Eunice is missing. And together, they formed a search party. They went searching for Eunice into the fields. They found Eunice's body. Yeah, she was dead in a pool of blood. And next to her was an axe, a razor blade, and the basket that she intended to put her harvest in. Now, because they had heard her husband's voice, that was the first person that they suspected that he could have a hand in this. So they called in the police to the crime scene. Statements were taken, and the husband was hunted down, and they found him. The husband, Mwape, was 35 years old, just 35. Mwape was charged with the murder of Eunice. And further investigations revealed that indeed he had done it. Mwape was sentenced to death by hanging. So this one is murder. And in Zambia, it carries a death penalty. I don't know if it still does now, but this year that we're talking about was 2015. He was actually sentenced in 2015. So we don't know now. I'm not sure if the law is still the same, if they still have the death penalty in Zambia. But yeah, he was sentenced to death by hanging until pronounced dead. Now I'm talking of two cases of husbands killing their wives, and they get different sentences. Somebody please explain that to me. Honestly, I'm not a law person. I'm not a law student. Neither am I a lawyer. Please explain those terms to me. Like, what's happening there? Anyway, those are the two stories that I had today from Zambia. And thank you so much for watching. Guys, stay away from crime, because if you do the crime, you are most likely to do the time. Be blessed and enjoy your holidays. Thank you for watching.